Hello, this is Telomere and welcome to another repair video. In this video we're looking at an iPhone XS. I've actually had this one kicking around in my shop for quite a while. It was I partially started working on it, and then I had to stop. And the reason is because when it turns on, it goes immediately into recovery mode. And I can't get it out. I haven't been able to get it out. It's been around the shop for I think maybe a little over a year and a half. So that's what it's showing the moment it turns on. It's low on battery, so once I plugged it in, immediately booted up, and that's what it is showing. So there are a few different ways to fix this issue, and I have tried, as far as I knew at the time, all of them. But there is something that, with new tools, have resulted in me learning something new. Now, with this, I thought that I had discovered something new and interesting, because this one, when it finishes testing, as you can see, it shows that there is one pin not working. The issue is that it does that with all phones that are the iPhone X series and up. So you'll find that in the iPhone XR, the XS Max, the 11, etc. What you should not see is a failure on the TriStar tester. I did this test earlier, but for the sake of you guys seeing this, I'll do the test. And if there is any equipment or tools or whatever that I am using in these videos, I do have Amazon affiliate links in the video description below that can point you to exactly where you can buy them. So as you can clearly see, it has failed. It has failed. So whenever I'm doing the reset on this phone on the computer, what happens? It gives me a message that says it cannot communicate with the computer. I am starting to think now, since the TriStar is not working on here, that it is a possibility that that the charge port may be all that is broken. It's kind of annoying. I have this super beaten up iPhone XS right here, and I have tested it, and the TriStar does test fine here. So what I'm going to try doing is I'm just going to simply, this right here is the ribbon for the charge cable, ribbon assembly, whatever you want to call it. So if I can disconnect that right there and plug it into here, I'm going to plug it in here on the computer, and we're going to see whether or not that fixes it. So let's get the Penelope screws out. Now, as far as I can remember, I took out all of the adhesive for the screen, so it should come out pretty easily. Yeah, it's got a little bit of adhesive left. So I just got to take that plate off. Oh, I didn't take the adhesive out at all. Got to take that shield off. And I'm just going to temporarily disconnect the battery. Right here, once again, this should be the port. Disconnect that. And how am I going to get this in? Maybe like this. So I think this will do. Just like that. Got it. I got to plug that battery back in. Connect this up to the computer instead, and away we will go. All right, plugging it in now. I'm just going to double check to make sure my connections are firm. They are. This will turn the phone on. The Apple logo is showing. Here it is. It is in recovery mode still. So I expected that I would be in. Let's hit restore. Restore and update. And now it's just a waiting game. There we have it. It did it. Oh, it did it. Well, I thought it did it. It did not. It didn't do it. It's still in recovery. It went through the whole process, but it's still stuck in recovery mode. I'm wondering if maybe there is an issue with the power buttons. Yeah, the power button. If there's an issue with the power button itself, that could also be a reason why the phone is stuck in recovery mode. Because if it believes that it's constantly being held down, then it would definitely think that the phone should be brought into recovery mode. And I'm holding the power button down right now. There's enough power in it that it should be able to turn it on. But interesting that it was actually, like, the charge port was preventing the phone from finishing doing a system restore using doing a full recovery factory reset. It just wouldn't do it. So next I'm going to find out which ribbon cable it is that is connecting itself to the buttons. I think I'm going to have to take this one apart, and that's what I'm going to do, because I need these cables anyways. I need this. That's the power, the charge port cable. And I'm starting to feel that I'm probably also going to need the power button cable as well. Well, that was quite the adventure. Had to strip out a lot of stuff and discovered a few things that I didn't need to. That's been done. That's the power button. Tiny little thing. I'm not sure why, but they put the same thing, the flash on the power button. I don't understand why. Here is the charge port. And that means there's a lot of things that I gotta remove. I gotta remove this, all of this, and I think I also need to remove the, yes, I gotta remove the motherboard completely. So yeah, to get to the power button, it's all over the place. It's going to be quite the adventure. Well, it was a royal pain to get out, but I've got that little guy out. That's the button there. And where did there's the new button right there. So originally this cable was underneath this cable. I don't know what that sensor is for. Oh, I think it might be a Wi-Fi antenna or something like that. I don't know what this is. It seems to be a little chunk of, I don't know what that is. Just floating there. Ah, I know what that is. It's a sensor. Or no, well, technically it's a sensor. It's a microphone. And did I tear it off this one as well? I did. Ah, that was stupid of me. It means that this is garbage. It means that they're both garbage because I tore them off on both occasions. See, I tore it there as well, which means I gotta get into another phone and get it out once again. That's really frustrating. Well, I got the parts in finally. It took a little bit longer because I didn't have enough stuff to order, but there they are. So I'd really like to immediately go and get this installed because this is what's most important in making sure that this is actually working. We are not actually at the point where we're out of recovery mode. We're still stuck in it. So here we go. Here is our button assembly. Now it should be pretty easy. It's just held in by, as far as I know, just 2 screws, if I may remember correctly. I do not remember which 2 screws that was. I've got all these adhesive backing that I got to remove. Let's get this removed first. I know that this button's going to work, so there's no sense in leaving them on. Like, the chance of this not working is pretty low. Alright, that took a little bit of work to get in just because I couldn't find the screws. But I'm pretty sure this is where it's supposed to be. There is a certain path that it is supposed to follow as well. Like, you can kind of see where the old glue used to be, or maybe still slightly is. Maybe I can use that as a guide. Okay, here. Now let's get the motherboard in. We can give her a good test. Time to get all those tiny little connectors plugged back in. I can't believe how many ribbon cable connectors are on this. It's incredible how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I count 13, but I might be missing some still. Putting the camera in not because I need to, but mostly just to secure the parts that are underneath it. Because if you can clearly see here, there's a crack right here in the lens on the back. So I got to remove that. I do have the part already on hand, but at the moment I'm mostly focused on testing. I just need to test. That's all I need to do. 3 of these are looked after by the face cam. And I think this one and this one are for, no, it's one of these and these 2 are for the screen itself as well as the earpiece. Now the screen here is not in the best shape either, and I do plan to replace it with a nicer one. This one is pretty scratched up. Alright, finally the battery. At this point, theoretically, we have resolved all the issues that this phone has that is preventing it from turning on properly, booting up properly. I don't remember how much battery is in it, so I'm going to try turning it on first, just with the button. We'll see. The button's working properly. I think there's enough juice in the battery. It should just turn on its own. It wasn't doing this before. It wouldn't let me turn it on. So this is already a plus. Oh my. Okay. I'm happy to see this so far. I'm going to plug it in just to give it some power because I don't know how much battery it has in it. Let's just leave it alone as is, just for the moment. Okay, I stepped away. Let's see what's doing. Yeah, it is locked to me. I recognize that. Let's get into this. And there we have it, guys. Yeah, of course there's a Face ID issue. I don't have it installed yet. It's been about 1.5 years since it's been in this condition. I'm pretty sure I bought it about 1.5 years ago. It's just been sitting inside of my pile of parts phones. And I was going through it and I was like, can I fix anything? For once in a while, I learn a bit more and can diagnose a little bit better and have some better tools. And there we have it. Yeah. So, I'm going to continue working on this. It needs a back. It needs an earpiece as well. Well, the screen finally arrived. I can finally take this out. It's been waiting for longer than it should have. Maybe a couple of weeks. Now, before I put in that new screen, there is a couple things that I want to do immediately. You notice, once again, we've got that camera lens that needs to be replaced. I'm going to do that first. I'm going to do that immediately. I also don't remember what the condition of the battery is either, so I might want to see what's going on with that as well. So to begin with, let's get this unplugged. Get the camera module out. I actually should have taken the lens out before I took this bit out here. I'm not sure why I did that. This is pretty straightforward to get out. All you got to do is just heat it up and then take like a screwdriver or spudger or something like that and just push. Something like that. It's coming up pretty darn easily. I just heated it up till it was really hot to the touch. It was a little bit more than just a bit uncomfortable to touch. That's coming out really easily. I'm gonna have to go and push the rest out using a blade. Not pushing out, I mean pulling it out from the other side, because that's about as much as I can do. What I usually do is I just grab some alcohol, a razor blade like that, a chisel blade, and just dribble the alcohol in here. I'm gonna put on some safety glasses just because it's in a lot of pieces and it's making me just slightly nervous. And you just peel away. I'm gonna have to go and pick this glass all up with some packing tape. That's usually the easiest way to get it all picked up off your desk. Yeah, I felt that hit my forehead. Little piece of glass. Okay, that's all done. I can take the glasses off. I have a feeling that I've lost a little piece. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there never was one. But I think I may have lost the little microphone fabric thing that goes over it. Alright, for the final bit of this, I just got to clean up all the old adhesive that's in there. And the easiest way to do that is just more alcohol. But in this occasion, what I'm going to change up differently is I'm going to be using the back of the blade instead. That just prevents me from gouging out any of the metal. So that's just like this side instead. It works very well. From the final bit, we're just going to soak a swab with some alcohol and give this a good cleaning. Get all those particles out of there. Now I'm pretty sure that there is supposed to be some sort of mesh that goes right here. You can kind of see that spot right there. That's where the earphone, the microphone is for that side. And as far as I can tell, I've never been able to find them on my parts provider's website. So I'm up a creek without that. It's not the biggest deal in the world. It's just a little bit of mesh. I am a little gutted that though that I can't find it, because I found it. And it's broken. Yeah, it's broken. Alright, well, it is what it is. We'll continue on with it as it is. That sucks. So just take a little bit of packing tape and I'm just going to clean up all this glass. It really does a great job in getting rid of all the little shards. Okay, we're just going to take the protective backing off of the adhesive and we can drop it in place. Try your best not to touch the lens. So it's such a pain to get the fingerprints off this side, you know, the adhesive side. So yeah, you just make sure that that little cutout is on the your left side there when you're putting it in, so that when you flip it around, it's going to the right side. And I usually like to start off with the top, and then I let it slide into place and then just push. And there we go. Very good. Nice and flat. What I want to do next is put in the original screen. Oh yes, put the camera back in too. Yeah, we better do that. Okay, we got things plugged in here. I'm just putting this in place so that I've got something to push against for when I'm putting the back glass in. Thing's going to look amazing once it's done. The frame isn't particularly beaten up either, so it's in not bad shape, and it's going to look pretty close to, if not brand new, it's going to look very lightly used, which will be pretty cool. I've probably put more glue than it was actually necessary, but that's okay. Here we go. So after this, I gotta go and put in the clamp. It's just gonna hold it all down in place so that it's not peeling up anywhere. It shouldn't, but it's always good to go and have it in that little clamp thing. I always like to press on the edges. Make sure that glue, the excess glue, squeezes out the edges. There. Now just go and take this. It's kind of a little bit tacky on the back, but I just use this to protect the clamp. Then you can just squish it down like that. Toss this in the clamp. I think I'll do it this way. Make sure it's in the center. Clamp it down. I'm going to leave this probably in here for maybe an hour. You can leave it in pretty much as long as you want, really. It dries by, I think, about 12 hours. It's fully cured within 12 to 24 hours. You really don't need to have it in there that long. Quite often I've had customers in a rush, and I've actually taken them out of the clamp after only about 15 minutes. Okay, it should be dry now. It's been sitting here for maybe, I don't know, an hour, hour and a half, something like that. I'm gonna go grab some gloves. Reason being is because they're gonna be using a lot of rubbing alcohol to get all this gunk off. And that rubbing alcohol really burns. You can see it's still a little bit gooey. It's pretty dry, but it's just a slight bit still gooey. It's actually a pretty nice way to get it set, is when it's like this. And it's simply because it's a little easier to clean off sometimes when it's at this state. So what I usually do first is just go at it with the razor blade, scrape off the excess. Not razor blade, this is a plastic razor blade, faux razor blade. You could also just use a nail to get rid of it, or maybe something like that, like a pick. Not much of it's coming off at the moment. Now let's start working at it. Lots and lots of isopropyl alcohol. Alright, that cleaned up nice. It still needs a little bit more of a polish, but I'm not going to do that till it's fully dry. Some of that glue can be very annoying until it is fully dried, fully cured. I'm going to take the screen back off again, and we're going to start finally going and putting this all back together, because we really are at that point where you just got to get all the giblets in place. I'm going to transfer over True Tone and use iCopy. I mostly use iCopy just because it's a little bit faster. The Kianli iCopy Plus, whatever it is. It's a very straightforward device. Can't remember which cable it is. That one? Yep. There we go. It's all populated in. Let's read it. Done. Why don't I take these gloves off? It's kind of annoying. Take the gloves off. I don't need them. Not anymore. Let's write that data to the new one. Hit the right button on the bottom. Done. See, the information is immediately populated in. Now, I'm pretty sure there isn't actually anything wrong with this screen. There is no blemishes on it. So I'm going to put it up for sale on eBay once I get a few more screens. Do a whole bulk sale of them. So I've put in the new battery, and the battery that I've used is one that I made myself, which means that I used the charge control board from another iPhone XS battery, and I've put that together with one of their raw terminal batteries. And I was curious whether or not that would work on here. and I think it may have worked. Now it does have a update that needs to go through first, and I'm wondering whether or not I should do it, but it is showing as maximum capacity being 100%, so 100% battery health. That's great to see. I need to go and open this up. We're going to get the battery out, and we're going to stick it down because it's working properly. Just make sure that I unplug the phone first. Now I do need to go and put in the new seal. I'm confident of everything at this point. The screen seems to be working fine. Oh, I do need to still test the earpiece. Okay, so I'm gonna do that off camera just because it's a little bit time consuming. Well, I fully tested it and I didn't find any issues at all, which is really good to see, quite obviously. So I'm ready to go and install finally the seal for the screen. I always like to start where the cameras are just because it's a little bit more fiddly on that side. Line it up, you put it right in. That's odd. It's not really what I would expect. It's like it's an iPhone X. It's an XS, but that's looks like an iPhone X instead of an XS shield. I'm gonna have to alter this. They always, at least the company that I deal with, a lot of times they provide a seal for at least the screen, which is really nice. But I think they made a mistake when they sent this one. Yeah, it's still not fitting perfectly. That's okay, we'll work around it. Now, usually this comes in 3 parts, but I think this one is only 2. So this one might be a little bit more difficult than usual. It took some fiddling, but we managed to get it. Let's get that screen installed. Now, it's really helpful to start off first with the earpiece. Well, I've done all the testing that I can, and it seems to be working great. I've got all the plates in, everything is in place. It's doing well. I think we can finally put this together. It's been quite the journey. Yeah, it looks solid. Just gonna give it a really good rub, just make sure that adhesive is holding tight, and that's it. Let's put those pentalobe screws in. There. That's done. What an absolute journey this was. It was an incredibly annoying journey, but it's done. We got 100% battery health. We have a new back. We have it's a little fingerprint covered, but we also have a new camera cover or camera lens, new screen, new earpiece. What else did we change out? I think that's it. I think that's it. Let's do that nice peel. There. Very nice. Absolutely wonderful. That's all there is to this video, guys. If you like the video, please do leave a like. They really do help me. They tell the algorithm that this video was worth watching. And if you want to watch more of my stuff, subscribe. We'll see you guys all in another video.